This presentation is to introduce the module called The Power of Questions and Peer-to-Peer Development. My name is Bruce Holland and I'm the author of Cracking Great Leaders and the Cracking Great Leaders program. The reason why I think you should use this module is because questions are one of the most powerful management tools, but in my experience they are very poorly used. I've found that managers waste enormous amounts of time solving the problems that their people bring to them. Trouble is, often these things are symptoms or conditions or some assumption that they've made rather than the real problem. The knack is to get to the heart of what the problem is, and the only way to do that is to be good at asking questions. I've found that managers in my workshops have been so poor at asking questions that sometimes I've had to actually ask them to close their eyes and point to a question, because I provide a list of questions in the reading. Close your eyes and point to a question. And they've been absolutely surprised how even random questions can lead to much, much deeper answers. You see, the trouble is, if people are bringing managers problems that are assumptions or conditions, then when the manager answers those questions, they're not actually solving the problem. They're solving the assumption that is behind the problem rather than the actual problem. So 6 months later, or in a different part of the organisation, the problem will come back. The other part of this module is about how to set up peer-to-peer learning. Because peer-to-peer learning is the most powerful way. If you can learn from people who do the same job as you do, and you can develop a culture and a process where they can come together and learn together and ask questions of each other and develop together and solve each other's problems, you have something that's enormously powerful. So peer-to-peer learning is a group where people come, they're trained how to ask questions of each other and how to dig right down to the essence of, so even if the solution is very clear to the person who's being asked the question, they're trained not to answer it, but to keep asking more questions until the person answers the question themselves. Because at this really deep level, they come up with something that is extraordinarily powerful. So what's in this module? Key parts of the module are how to ask better questions and how to use questions to sell, how to set up peer-to-peer groups, how to use questions to sell. Because if you try and convince someone to buy something, the chances of success are very limited. But if you, through questions, can get them to sell themselves, you're home and host. And then lastly, how to set up peer-to-peer groups, because peer-to-peer groups are far more powerful over time to get people to learn together. And once the program that this module is part of is finished, it'll be the peer-to-peer groups that give the lasting benefit and the support that's required in order for people to continue learning way after you have delivered the program. So how this module will add value is you will be able to help your clients ask better questions so they solve the real problem and they solve it once and only once. How to ask questions that sell so that they can be much more successful in delivering their ideas and influencing people that they need to influence. And how to set up peer-to-peer groups so that your program, after you've gone, is supported in a way that 90% of other programs aren't. Your program is likely to be far more successful because it's reinforced by the people who've been through the program over time. This is an important module, especially the peer-to-peer piece. If you only buy it for the peer-to-peer groups, then you've done something that's really worthwhile, because the continuing support over time after you've left is valuable way beyond the time that takes to deliver the module. The module will give you all the reading, the exercises and the processes that I've developed over 22 years into a process that works. Now you could do this yourself, develop the whole thing and try and come up with something, but this is a far more successful way of doing it, and doing it much more quickly, so you can get out there earning money from your clients rather than sitting inside developing programs.